welcome everybody to the regular meeting.
Recording in progress.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to welcome you all to the regular meeting of the Swanton Village Board of Trustees for Monday, April 10th, 2023. We'll start off our program this evening with a pledge of allegiance. Would you rise? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So, do we have any revisions to our agenda this evening that anybody knows about?
Yes, sir. Public comment after this, after agenda review,
Add it.
just to add, yeah, if there's any, if there's any.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
I see we got a request for the executive session, personnel and real estate. That's okay. All right, so now is the time for public comment. Is that what you'd like to say?
Yes.
Anybody want to say anything in the audience? The owl doesn't want to say anything either, so I guess we'll accept
But
public comment.
did Emily want to?
She's here from the state.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's here from the state, okay.
Yeah.
What's that?
Nothing.
That's good, yeah. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to approve and accept the minutes from our Monday, March 27th, 2023 meeting, and the minutes from our short but special meeting on April 5th, 2023, as presented. What's your pleasure on the minutes?
I would make that motion that we accept the minutes.
And I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the minutes from both meetings. Any discussion?
I'd just like to make one comment. I would like to comment again and thank Diane for the work she did chasing the delinquent accounts. That was well presented and well put together and well understood.
Thank you.
Okay. So noted. If there's no discussion, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion is carried unanimously. Next item, approve and accept the village warrants through Thursday, April 6th, 2023.
I move that they be approved.
And I'll second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to approve the village warrants. Any discussion on the warrants?
Just two questions, making up for last meeting.
Good.
Warrant number 32, 86681 for M-Power.
Yes. My question, where is Empower?
That is our 457 plan that we have employees that voluntarily contribute to. It's in addition to the retirement plan that the village has.
That's a 100% employee contribution.
And my other question. 86733 on warrant 34, Trimmer Piper.
That's the legal firm that we use. So that was related to the water project.
Okay. I kind of thought that, but I thought I'd ask. That's all I had.
That's it.
That's it.
Chris?
Good, good.
Or did Adam cover that?
Adam covered.
Okay, that being said, all those in favor of the motion to approve and accept the village warrants, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, that motion is carried unanimously. Next item on our agenda, Aldrich and Elliott, wastewater treatment facility project update. Environmental review, mitigation measures required. So,
That'd be me. Good evening. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate your time. My name is Jeffrey Lewis. I'm a professional engineer and your project engineer on a project at the wastewater treatment facility. It would appear as though we are pulling up a PowerPoint. I just really wanted to quickly walk through some ongoing work that we've been doing with you on everybody's favorite piece of public infrastructure, the local wastewater treatment facility. just kind of get everybody up to speed, and it's a requirement and is a good part of the public notification and comment process as far as where we're currently at in the project. Next slide would be great. So the village of Swanton, as you may know, has a wastewater treatment facility which was originally constructed in 1972. It's been in service ever since. It's had a couple of upgrades. In 1989, it had an update where we did a couple things there. Another update in 1996. And most recently, the state issued a new discharge permit for the wastewater treatment facility in 2018. And that kind of started the timeline that we're currently on. The latest discharge permit under the Lake Champlain Phosphorus TMDL issued a revised phosphorus limit for the wastewater treatment facility. And that kind of triggered a series of things that have occurred. We've looked at optimizing phosphorus removal, and we've evaluated alternatives to meet phosphorus removal requirements as part of the new permit in the interim since that new discharge permit was released. You may remember that we conducted a pilot study and looked at certain different phosphorus removal technologies. We've reached the next stage of the project, and what we're currently doing is we're in final design to implement those improvements that we identified back in 2019. This coincided with a 20-year evaluation where we looked at age-related deficiencies at the wastewater treatment facility. Anything built in 1972 is going to have some age-related needs in 2023. And a lot of items that we're looking at touching as part of this project were last really touched in 1989. So you've got a wastewater plant with a lot of things that are 30 plus years old, and you've got a need to address some new phosphorus removal requirements. So those are the two purpose and needs that we're going for right now. I included a table that kind of points at everything that we pointed at the 20-year evaluation. This is more to kind of give you a project update, not discuss all the nuts and bolts within the project. We've been meeting with Bill and Reg and have completed a preliminary engineering report to kind of highlight all of the recommended improvements and have selected a project which addresses those needs in a cost-effective manner that gets you guys what you need. So those are the two main drivers of this, is to kind of address the phosphorus as mentioned and the age-related needs of the plant. Next slide would be good. And so what we're doing as part of this project, to give you an overview of the things that we're actually doing, there's a curtain that was in Lagoon 1, Lagoon 2 that we're going to be replacing. There's two large domed structures that we're going to be refurbishing all the internal components on. Those are the solids contact clarifiers. We're going to construct a new tertiary filter system, which is going to help us with phosphorus removal. And we're going to replace some of the other age-related items, such as sludge pumps, the air diffusion system, and the aeration blowers. And there's some pictures there to kind of give you an idea of some of the aged things that are there. And the last improvement is some of the motor control centers for all the electrical things at both the wastewater plant and your associated pumping station. So to kind of give you an idea of where we are now in the project, we finalized the PER it was actually January. It was not in January of 2023. It was earlier than that. We finalized the PER in September of 2021. We have started final design in February of 23. We're currently working on final design and anticipate finishing final design for this project in December. Looking to advertise for bids at the beginning of 2024, pending a public bond vote where you'll hear more about this and the public will have an opportunity to vote on this. The reason why I'm talking to you tonight is because in the middle of design here, we're doing environmental review steps, and just want to talk about what the environmental review looks like. Even though we're working at an existing wastewater treatment facility, what criteria we're looking at and what we anticipate being required for mitigation measures. So the environmental report was submitted at the beginning of March. It looks at these 9 criteria. I'm happy to discuss anything that you guys would like to talk about as far as what we discovered when we looked into all these. But the ones that we wanted to highlight that could come into play that may have some mitigation measures, since there are structures on site that are over 50 years old, the State Historic Preservation Office will need to weigh in on any archaeological or historic preservation concerns. It would be unusual for a wastewater treatment facility to have any of these, but we're going through that process as we speak. I am aware that the last time they did an update, they did find an archaeologically sensitive site near the wastewater treatment facility, which we are not touching, so we don't anticipate that will be a problem. There are under the Endangered Species Act, there are 2 species which have a home near here. It's the northern long-eared bat and the monarch butterfly. We're doing very minimal work to the surrounding area, so I don't anticipate that this will have any impact on those, but we are reaching out to Fish and Wildlife to see if there are any mitigation measures that they'd like to see. And the last one of these 9 criteria that we're going to touch is that we are working in and around a wetland buffer, which is on the fence line of the wastewater treatment facility. It's nothing new for the village. You guys recently dealt with this when you put in a new generator. You guys had to go through and have a wetlands determination and deal with the wetlands buffer impact. We're going to do what we can to minimize our impact on that. I believe our next slide kind of shows the map and where we're kind of going to be playing with that. If you want to go to the next slide. So this kind of shows this shows your wastewater treatment facility's overall view. At the lower edge there, you see where the mapped wetland is. That's that green blob. The state protects not only the wetland, but a 50-foot buffer from the wetland. So as we build the new building, which is roughly shown in red, and make required changes to the drive to maintain access, we're going to be within that 50-foot buffer. And so there is going to be some need to get a wetlands permit for this project and to have minimization studies to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect that wetland that's there. And so we're in that process currently to make sure that we're doing that. But that's the biggest mitigation measure that I anticipate, environmentally speaking, for this project, is working within the wetland, and it's nothing that the town has not, or the village has not previously done. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about the project. Just want to give a brief overview. Yes?
Our system with the dewatering and the centrifuge, is that typical or are we unique?
You guys are in a good place with your dewatering. It's not every community has the dewatering capabilities and the lime stabilization capabilities that you have. Your ability to handle your own sludge is it's not completely unique, but it's a benefit for the village that not all communities share.
Is there any issue with the land application of the sludge?
You went right for the hot button issue. That is a developing problem throughout all communities. We're waiting to see what the state is going to do. The most recent buzzword that is becoming a concern is the PFAS that is present in sludge. The state has shown increasing reluctance to allowing land application because of increased concerns of PFAS. We're finding that across the board, not just with well-treated and lime stabilized sludge such as you guys produce, but even lagoons trying to put it into a landfill is becoming difficult. It's a growing concern and an increasing problem that we're all looking for solutions for. I'd say that you guys are in a pretty good spot with the infrastructure that you currently have, but it is a mounting concern that I don't have a good answer for you as far as the long-term outlook of that particular practice.
We also, do we still have activated the infrared light?
UV?
You do. You use a UV disinfection system.
Is that up to snuff?
That's in great condition. No real work is recommended on that at this time. You guys recently refurbished all that, and it's in really good shape. So there's everything that we're doing at your plant will further protect that UV system, and we're putting a filter in front of it as part of this project. So it'll be in better shape, but no need to make any changes there at this time.
The 9 criteria you had for environmental,
Yes.
what added cost is that gonna put on us?
So
Because I won't go any farther than that.
that's a fair question. This is a process through the state SRF program. It's a requirement for all SRF projects that we go through that environmental report process. It was included in our estimates when we gave you an original estimate for our work. It has been more work than we originally anticipated because the state did change to a new format right when we were starting the project. We are not planning on charging the village any additional money for our effort on that. That is part of the agreements that you guys have already signed. But it's a increasingly cumbersome process that we are all having fun dealing with.
Yeah. So, and I'll be curious as to what they come back with the sludge, the land apps part of it, because it's, if they don't have a solution, then.
There are ongoing efforts to try to address it, and it's something that everyone in the industry is well aware of and trying to deal with. And there are various proposals on the table that are being looked into on a statewide level. But as far as your community goes, you guys are in a great position. You guys produce a well-treated biosolid that you still have the ability to land apply. So I'd say that you're in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, we were told that by the state 3 or 4 years ago when they came in and said, you're doing a really good job, but you need to do better.
So part of what this project will do is you guys, in order to comply with the phosphorus, have been adding a lot of aluminum sulfate to get the phosphorus numbers down. And the concern long-term is that that's going to increase your aluminum content in your sludge and make it harder to dispose of sludge. So one of the drivers for this project is let's lower the chemical usage and make it so that your sludge quality maintains a high standard.
I understand. Yeah, thank you.
One more question. How about capacity? We're thinking about extending even up towards Highgate, and how much more capacity can we handle in our present size?
So you guys have the advantage of, it's a facultative lagoon system, and those two lagoons are very big. There's two ways of thinking about capacity. There's both the amount of flow that you take, the hydraulic capacity of the wastewater treatment facility, and you guys average well below your permitted average of 0.9 million gallons per year. So you have lots of hydraulic capacity available. There's also an organic capacity, or the amount of actual waste to be treated by the treatment facility. I haven't looked at your numbers in a while to know exactly where you guys are at on that one, but we could evaluate that for you guys to see exactly where that sits. Usually that is the catch-up. Typically, facultative lagoons are very adept at handling increased organic capacities. So I would say that you guys have sufficient capacity to expand to however much you envision in the future. That was not flagged as a problem during our PER.
We could say we're 20, 30%.
I could if I looked at it closer and gave you an actual number. I don't know off the top of my head exactly where you guys are
I'm
at.
concerned if it was 5%, that's all.
You're not that close. The state requires an increase in capacity if you approach 80%. So I definitely would have flagged that during the PER. You're under 80% for sure utilized. I just don't know the exact number off the top of my head.
Thank you.
It'd just be good to know, so, as we plan forward.
I don't believe it's a hang up for you right now.
That's all. No, I understand.
Yep.
Just, I think going forward, if we know we're at 70 or 40 or 50, if even a ballpark, later on, it just helps us to plan forward for, requests that will come in.
Yep. And part of why I wanted to come today is just to get you guys thinking about the project. The public will have multiple opportunities to comment on this project moving up. As part of the environmental process, there'll be a 30-day warned period on the environmental news period. Mm-hmm. As part of the wetlands permit process, there'll be an additional 30-day warned process on the environmental news bulletin. And we'll be conducting meetings and having we'll come down for another meeting, for another public meeting around the bond vote to discuss that with the public as well. So the goal is not to surprise anybody. The goal is to make sure everybody's aware of the project, what we're planning to do, and why we're planning to do it.
Are we planning to dredge any of the lagoons this year?
I don't exactly remember where we're currently standing on sludge dredging. It's an upcoming need, but it's not currently included as part of this project. It may become part of that project as we continue to assess exactly where this falls with where you guys are at.
We have to measure that. We're going to work with folks to do that, but that's separate and apart. But we know it's going to be millions of dollars to take that on, hopefully a decade from now.
Future.
So
And
we'll all be
in
gone.
response to his question,
Well,
remember when we
won't
did
be
the
on
airport?
The airport, I apologize.
When we worked with Highgate to put the line up there, we had that number.
I could get the number for you without too much difficulty. I just don't have it off the top of my head.
Somebody could, or Bill could hand it back to us.
So I think
I think it's 60 or 70, somewhere in that area, but I'm not sure.
60 or 70 what?
Percent of
Capacity.
capacity is used.
Oh,
I don't remember the exact number,
but
but they were there.
I know we discharge about 300,000.
Yeah, I don't think we're that close to capacity at all. I think we're about 35%. But I'm just guessing, I'm not an engineer, so I'm punting. Looking at Jeff now.
Yeah,
He's working it.
I'm looking quickly at your loading. I would eyeball it based on this graph from 3 or 4 years ago at around 60% of your organic capacity that you're currently taking. Hydraulically, you have plenty of capacity. Organically, it might be closer. I don't think either way it's a limiting factor for you guys. It's just I'd like to be a little cautious and not provide numbers if I don't know them.
Just information for the public.
So Wayne, the boss, is on the phone. He has his hand up. He has a comment.
Yes, I can answer that question for you. The nice thing about remote, I can pull reports out. So, good evening. I had another meeting, so the nice thing about that with a remote is I could jump into both. So, flow-wise, you're at about, when we did the preliminary engineering study, you're about 60%. And your organic loading, you're in the range of 65 to 70%. So if that answers your question.
Right on.
Thanks, Wayne.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wayne.
Just so the public knows.
Yep.
It's not unlimited.
Right. Yep.
I have one question. It's
Yep.
an overall question. When the state set the new levels for phosphorus removal, we were afraid that we were gonna have to change our entire system, but that's not the case now. With the improvements that you're proposing, we're good to go without redesigning the whole system?
Correct. You're going to maintain being a facultative lagoon system. We're adding an additional process on the back end of your current treatment train. Instead of replacing the whole car, we're basically replacing the back end of the car. We're just giving you a new finishing before it goes to UV disinfection.
Good.
So now I can add a slideshow. You can. You can stop
Anybody
share.
else?
Stop. There you go.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Very good, thorough.
Thank you, appreciate
And
it.
if you have any additional questions, Bill and Reg both know how to get in touch with me. I'd be happy to answer anything
We'll call
else.
Wayne.
Or Wayne is also, as you know, Wayne is a good face as well.
Thanks, Jeff,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yes,
You,
thank you, Jim.
Thanks for pointing out.
Okay, I know this guy's been chomping at the bit, getting ready to go. Swanton Village Electric Department update with Dwayne Kuchar, our electric foreman. So,
Do Wayne still have his hand
am I
up?
correct here?
Wayne.
Village managers.
At UI, I think, Wayne, if you're still on, did you still have your hand up? Did you have a comment? Or was that before? I think we're good.
Yeah, sorry,
Oh,
very
okay.
quickly, just
Yeah.
back, Emily Hackett is on from Single Letter SRF, and I just wanted to confirm, I jumped on a couple minutes late, just wanted to confirm you're all set with things, Emily, at this point? You're muted, Emily.
Sorry about that.
She's coming.
Famous words of our life. Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to open a public hearing for comments, so I need to go back and confirm that that was what we did, because we kind of went over that review, but there is a 30-day comment period once the finding of no significant impact paperwork is posted on our website. And you can send comments to my email. I put in the chat, oops, sorry, it's 2 T's. I put in the chat for you. Sorry, my kids are home.
That's okay, that's awesome.
I didn't know it was a public hearing, so I should have done it
Thank you, Emily. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you both, appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, so now you can do your back to share screen. There you go, yeah.
there. So, after
Yep,
this,
back to share screen.
hold on.
Nope, yep, no, share screen. There you go. Now find Wayne's, there you go, double click
Take a break, Dwayne.
from beginning.
We'll get right
Geez,
back.
he's, the president's no help sometimes.
Technology.
And from beginning. There we go. Okay. Sir, the floor is yours.
Okay. All right. I think we can skip to the next slide.
I like this
Please,
one.
Well, look at, can we go back to that?
That's a nice talk.
I mean, he's the third one in, and this is probably the most impressive opening slide. Right? Okay.
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 Just wanted to pause for a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I may have had a little help doing this presentation, putting my PowerPoint together. I have a wife that's very good at doing this stuff. That's what these guys are razzing me about. So everybody should know that. So obviously with the organizational chart, I would like to point out just a couple of key roles in this, and that is obviously everyone that works under me or alongside of me, like Al Mosier, our electrical engineer. He's a big key role in what he plays on how everything flows with us, with our whole SCADA system, helping design parts of our system. He's definitely a right hand for us, and he's been exceptional for us. I just want everybody to really understand that. Obviously, what keeps us all rolling is the rest of the guys under me. That's all part of the line crew. as well as Mark Longway, who does our meter reading, as well as a lot of our IT work as well. So everybody's pretty busy on that role, that part. Next slide. So everybody realizes that our responsibility is obviously for supplying power to our 4,000 customers, along with maintaining our transmission and distribution lines, our electric meters, and the mutual aid that we provide because of our exceptional system that we've been fortunate enough to build. We're able to help a lot of the other companies with mutual aid, which is a big thing to say about what we have here in Swanton.
So do you want to mention briefly about NEPA, the mutual aid, how we New England?
That we are part of NEPA's organization, yes, we can. We are part of the New England Public Power Association, which works with the mutual aid call. It goes out, it's a one thing, it goes out to all companies in New England, as well as, well, a little bit more
We
than
can
New
go
England.
nationally if we need to, but yes.
Yes, and that's how we're notified who needs help and when we respond, whether we can or cannot help them, as well as if we were in need, such as during the ice storm in '98. You'd reach out and then we'd find out where our help was coming from. So that works very well. So supplying, maintaining our power lines obviously is it all goes back to the line improvements that we're making, our tree trimming some of that we're done, and a lot of that is also contracted out to help maintain the power staying on. Building of the new lines, creating estimate costs for new customers, ensuring that we're working in a safe environment. So what's coming down the pipe is that we are going to smart metering, which is hopefully going to start getting implemented this year. With that smart metering, we won't be going door to door reading the meters. That'll be coming right straight into our computer system. This also will be integrated with our GIS mapping system, which allows for outage management in the future. This isn't all going to happen overnight. This is going to take us a little while to build all this. We're currently working on all of it right now. So we have some of it in place, but it's going to be a little bit, maybe a year and a half is my hopes and expectations to have this up and running in good shape. We touched on mutual aid, which is one of the things that we work with local and non-local power companies. We also are currently working with Enosburg Power to help alleviate our on-call. We have gone to working with them where one of our guys and one of their guys is on call each week to cover both systems. That has gone from having one of our two guys on every other week to being on call every fourth week. So that has helped make things a lot easier, a little less cost to each company, as opposed to, paying for two guys, you're paying for one guy. Safety obviously is one of our biggest and most important things in our industry. We have monthly safety meetings, which go over all kinds of different things. We're yearly CPR and first aid certified, and our equipment is always tested, rubber gloves, rubber sleeves, bucket trucks and everything, to meet all regulations and policies that are required in the industry. Projects that are upcoming. Obviously, a lot of our poles in our system are 1960s. The age expectancy of poles is 50 years. So we've definitely surpassed that with a lot of our poles. It is a lot to replace if you looked at how many. Our new mapping system hopefully will be able to tell us exactly how many we have to replace, and we can put a game plan together with that. We do currently work on that every year. We're also trying to bring even more of our poles, our lines roadside to help shorten our outage durations, because if it's roadside, we usually can get things restored quicker. That's one of the reasons that our outages are as short as they are. And I believe if we looked at our numbers, I think we average about 1920, can you help me on that, Lynn? Maybe average 1920 outages per year.
Duration is
In the
an hour, if that.
Yeah, probably that would be a good thing on duration, you
The
know,
Christmas storm
So,
kind of skewed that outage because we took the
Yes.
whole system went down.
right,
So, I mean, it's part of the whole Sadie and Katie numbers that we track
yes.
every year and have to report.
So, yes. Challenges.
Couple of questions along the way here when you get a chance.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, you mentioned SCADA system. Can you
Yes.
explain to the public what that is and what that does for you?
Okay, yes, so our SCADA system is a computerized system that we have a screen, just like your television screen, that is both at the power plant, it's on the computer system. It watches our system, the whole entire system it's looking at. We have what we call reclosures and substations, which control each circuit. We have 6 circuits that control our system. We have 3 substations. We are watching all of that, so if a circuit goes out, we know it, we get alarms on that, and it helps to shorten the outage, to know where the outages are coming from. That is one of the things that we continue to want to build on is that. It controls switches, it controls reclosures. We want to be able to control even more in our system, not only in our transmission part, but on our distribution part. We have a lot of infrastructure in place with our fiber, so it's all ran through our fiber. It's a closed system, so nobody actually can even see it at this point in time. We're the only ones that see it. It has a lot of growth with the rest of our switches that we have here. People, our customers, do not even know a lot of times. We can take one substation completely out of service and nobody even knows it because we're able to feed through our other systems, our other substations. Everything is loop fed in our system. We're able to shut parts of it down and not even understand, our customers not even realize that we have been able to do that and work on different parts of our system. So that is all helped with our SCADA, being able to follow that. Hope that explains that as best I could.
I love hearing you talk about it because it's so cool.
So,
And as a over 50-year customer, I gotta tell you, I recognize the difference between 50 years ago, the number of outages and the length of them,
yeah,
as to what happens today. And if you look at their surrounding communities around us, then on the news, they're having long-term outages, lots of customers affected.
yes.
We don't.
It's a very unique,
We're up
it's a
to date.
very
We're doing-
unique
we're doing
system.
pretty well.
It's a very unique system.
And security-wise, like you say, the computer system is self-contained, and our substations are pretty secure. I mean, there's a lot of talk about different subterfuge that could happen to electrical systems, and the other thing that's unique about us is we can make most of our own electricity,
Exactly.
which is a real ace in the hole.
Mhm.
And the other thing I want to ask is there any openings for new linemen? I mean, are we looking for a turnaround? Do we need more people at some point?
So yeah, so one of our challenges that I have put up is actually, we are getting to that point where some of us don't have that many more years left. I've been here 26, going on 26 years. There's only a couple of years left for me.
7 more years for him. 7 more years.
You're the boss.
And you're right. And so yes, we are looking at being able to, we've got a couple of young guys on our staff right now. We have been fortunate enough, with the board's help, to turn around and be able to get people on board early enough to start getting this training. It's not something that, even after 4 years, there's still more to be learned. That gets you to your first class, but there is a lot to be learned with the whole system. So that is, you know, retention of these people, keeping these younger guys here, that's always on the back of our minds, and hoping that we can do that.
As a trustee and as a customer, thank you. You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
First-class operation, you look good. To see you out in the field, you're tending to business, you're getting the job done. The outages are short, people's lives aren't greatly affected. Thank you.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, if you don't mind. So, when we talked about the SCADA system, and Dwayne's talking about circuits, with the new AMI system that will be set up, that circuit, you can tell exactly where that outage is. So it could be, for example, you could say Route 207 Series Circle, that area with the new AMI system. So they can drill down that granularly rather than, well, you've got this one system that's down, this one circuit that's down.
In outage management,
Yeah.
And the outage management will come probably last out of all this, as far as in getting it all together. It just takes a little while to get everything between the smart metering and the GIS system, getting it all built and all together, so.
I think we're ahead of the curve
Yes,
from what
yes,
I've seen and read.
so.
Thanks.
Thank you.
On your utility pole changes?
Yes.
Are you having to wait for other entities to remove lines?
So yes, unfortunately, one of our other problems is that we can turn around and get poles put in the ground and transfer our lines. And I know that you see a lot of dual wood within our system. That is something I have been trying to address for several years now. We have one of our counterparts that's attached, one of our other attached companies is very good at getting off them, and one is not. So I am struggling with that. I wish I had a better answer for you on that.
We had set up something.
We did.
5 or 6 years ago.
Yes, we do have
We were
that
gonna go after
ordinance.
these people.
Yes,
So
yes.
maybe we need to.
Yeah, I need to send out a letter for sure and enforce that.
That action and say, look, we're gonna start finding you, just like we said we would.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll definitely look forward into that, and look more into that, and see if I can't get
If
some
you need our help,
stuff.
please.
Yep,
We're more than happy to step on some toes.
okay.
Do you need any new equipment? Trucks? Poles, I know you need.
At this point in time,
Good.
no.
It looks good to me.
No, we are on a very good change out, I should say, and that's not the word I'm trying to look at. Rotation, we're on a very good rotation on with all of our equipment.
Succession plan.
So, yeah. Right.
So what's due next, do you know, off the top of your head?
What would be the next piece of equipment next?
One of the trucks, probably.
Might be the pickup.
I thought they were both gonna be about the same.
They might be. We might have one bucket and maybe the pickup about the same time.
And the
We're-
bucket trucks are out several years.
Yes, a build out is at least 2 years on a truck right now.
That's good. Thank you for that.
So for me personally, the biggest challenge is the number 3 bullet right there, the identification of a future leader. We keep talking about it. Every department lead we bring in, we're as good as that leader in the organization. So the plan is that we will have somebody in place. I've been assured that
Yes,
we
we
have
will.
a succession plan there. All I would ask the trustees is when Dwayne does get ready to pull the plug, that we don't have an open door. We do it months in advance so that we have that plan in place to make sure the new leader is ready to go and up and running.
It only makes sense.
But I've said this to Reggie, to Lynn, and to Bill, that I would not walk out the door unless things were in place. I wouldn't leave this place in a bad situation. You
Should
know.
be good in about 7 years then, right, gentlemen?
I think
So,
so.
so what you're saying is, we continue on doing what we're doing with you and Reggie.
Sure,
Something like that
yes,
would work well.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
So what we've done the last Well, when, the last couple of retirements, when
Yeah.
Jay and David retired, is we brought in their successors 6 months to a year in
Yeah,
advance.
more like a year in advance.
And, I mean, we lucked out when we hired Jody because we got him as a first class. So so he spent that time learning our system versus having to get up to speed
Yes.
as an apprentice.
Yes.
But what I would envision is in the budget, when Dwayne says, okay, it's time for, you know, we'll be budgeting for that year prior to, and so we can get somebody in and up to speed so that they can start learning.
Yes. Our young guys are doing a very good job and learning very well.
And they fit in very well.
Yes.
Dwayne, clarify, I think I know the answer to this, but mutual aid,
Yes.
who do we have mutual aid with? Do we go to whoever needs it, or just the public power group?
Correct.
Do we go to
We
Mountain
go,
Power, do we go to, some of the bigger companies? Or do we
Yes.
just stay within our?
we try to stay as close as we can to our system because there is, and it depends on how far away we have to go, how many people we send. But if we are able to work with, say, Vermont Electric Co-op and we're working in the islands, a lot of times we'll send all of us. Because we have very good communication, we know if something's wrong, we don't have far to get back. If we're going more than an hour away, then we're probably gonna send just one truck and a couple of guys. Or maybe the pickup as well or something if that's what's needed. But yeah, depending on how far they need us to go is how many we can send. This last time when we helped Green Mountain Power and we were sent all the way down to like Springfield area, Bennington area, we had our truck in one of our crew along with one of Enosburg's guys teamed up. And Enosburg sent one truck and they sent a couple of guys. I stayed back so we had enough people to be able to cover their system as well. They're fortunate that we have 3 guys here that came from Enosburg that know their system, so we're able to cover for both areas.
Works good.
So, yeah.
It's kind of like, if you think about it, you want to brag, it's kind of like the relationship we have with Highgate, the village has with Highgate, with the water line. We have that same thing with Enosburg with our electric crew.
Yeah,
So,
those guys gotta stick together,
yeah, for sure.
so, okay. Anybody else have any more questions for Dwayne?
Good job.
Okay. Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Reg will buy you lunch tomorrow.
Yeah, I will. I got some lunch meat in the
You
fridge.
see that, you see that Bill said Reg will buy you lunch, right?
Saw that, yeah.
I saw the axle coming.
And thank your wife also. She did a good job.
She did a great
She did a
job,
good job.
yes.
She did.
Let's get that on the record, I love that.
Okay, well, thank you.
We have to stop sharing.
Item number 8, village manager update. Bill promised us that he would keep it within an hour and a half window, so we're gonna hold him for that.
From now,
Hold on.
I can do this in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, Hotel Riv weekly update, bi-weekly update, bi-monthly update. We are still on and confirmed for 7 o'clock on-site meeting on Monday, the 17th. Demolition will begin at 0800. The building will be on the ground before noon.
I might add, I don't wanna interrupt you, but there's a huge excavator over in the behind the building right now, so.
Getting teed up, ready to
We're
go.
gonna make it.
So we are finalizing, I'll craft another Facebook message in the next day or two, and we will complete, we're almost done, either in person for Clarence next door, or a couple others will go out and knock and talk and make sure everybody's comfortable. But the landlords have all been notified, we're good on that property where we gotta move the fence. So just a few more phone calls to make, and then it'll be time to see it go.
Yeah, great.
The boring and the additional assessment of the soil is ongoing. They actually did that this week, end of last week, this week. So we'll know those results in the near future as well. So hopefully we'll move ahead and maybe at some point in the very near future, stick a for sale sign out front.
We will hold Bill, correct, after the building comes down, they're gonna do some borings around the basement?
Nope, they already did them.
Oh, they did them?
They're doing them before the building comes down, we just have to wait for the results. And then react accordingly. That means with calm demeanor and welcoming, and a welcoming approach
Don't
to
look at me
whatever.
when you say that.
No, I didn't. I actually was looking at Adam during that time. Okay.
Good choice.
So, yeah, correct. I'm learning. So this next one's pretty easy, and I don't even know if it's an action item. It's up to the trustees. Kathy Lavoy from Regional Planning reached out. There is a request from them that Joel Clark, who is interested, representing Swanton. What there is, there's no delineation. It's kind of representing one Swanton. So we want the trustees to weigh in, and Brian wants the select board to weigh in on the Northwest Vermont Rail Trail Council. So there's an open seat. He's been actively engaged. So the question to the trustees are, do the trustees support Joel Clark being appointed to the Northwest Vermont Rail Trail Council representing Swanton as an entire community?
I go for that.
So
Is he willing?
he's willing, he wants to do it.
Yeah,
So do we need a motion?
Let's make
we
one.
can make
I
one.
I think that's the safest way.
Yeah.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second for
So
whatever.
we have a motion to
Support.
designate Joel Clark to the Northwest Regional Planning Commission's Rail Trail Committee.
The Northwest Vermont Rail Trail Council.
Okay.
Joel is well qualified. I mean, his military rank is,
Well,
is
he's been
he's
involved.
further,
He's
he's been a
Yeah.
trustee. and he's-
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. We are now the proud owners of 124 First Street, which is the property right next door, former Carroll Concrete site. We closed on Friday, so that is done. Now the real work begins. So we have our second meeting with Weeman Lamphere this week, this Thursday. Again, for the purpose of identifying the potential and cost for a new public safety facility for police and fire. So full steam ahead. While that's happening, we have to do Tier 1 and Tier 2 mitigation, figure out what's going on with underground storage issues that have been identified on the site, which are minimal and known. We have to take the current building down and the tower down. Sprint moved about 3 weeks ago, so there's no more communications equipment there. So it's full steam ahead while we do all the studies and figure out what's going to fit there and what the cost is going to be.
So who chooses the engineering firm to do the mitigation?
We do. But remember, part of the purchase price was when Carroll Concrete bought the land, they spent $84,000 of their own money to get Tier 1 and Tier 2 mitigation reports from engineering firms. We have those, we own those. So we can utilize those. That's the first step. So for example, there's an old tank, gas storage tank. I don't know, I don't recall how many gallons off the top of my head that they feel properly, was not properly sealed and capped. So in all likelihood, we're gonna have to get that. But as part of the assessment, we will have to start working on that. And I don't think there's a hurry, right? It's all, we don't wanna do too much too fast. We have to let the architectural assessment catch up, determine what the bond amount is gonna be. All kinds of open houses, community forums, discussions. It's gonna be a busy year,
Okay. Beer and hot dogs.
all of that.
Well, where I was going was either Swanton Village or our architect gets to choose the engineers.
Correct,
Not somebody else, bring in whoever they want to
correct.
have.
What we have to do at the same time is work with folks who do control brownfields funds so that we don't have to utilize our own money to pay for any mitigation that we have to do over there. So we will work diligently to identify funds to pay for that. The next one's easy, it's just an FYI. So there's an old turbine, I think Dan talked about it when he was here, Dan Chevalier, up at Hydro, that's just been sitting for years and years. That was used a long time ago. And I forget, do you know what unit number it was?
I want to say it was 2, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah. So it's just the turbine itself. So Dan had a really good idea. Why don't we polish it, paint it, take the rough edges off, and then put it with a placard as an educational tool near the walkway on Highgate's property, right near the bridge. Highgate,
That's the old water wheel that's up behind?
correct,
Okay.
yes. So the the Highgate Select Board said, great idea. So we're gonna do that. Very little cost to us, good educational tool. The kids from MVU saw it on the tour, they thought it was cool. It'd be even better if it's down there with an identified placard and things like that. It's not usable, we would never use it again, so it's a good purpose for it. You met the owl, so we're using the owl from now on for all trustee meetings, just so you know. That's a new and improved device that most people are using that gives a pretty good view and is supposed to be much more effective for people, in particular on the other end of the meetings. So that's why we're using it. The same engineers were here, but this is a different topic. We are beginning the archaeological assessment on Foundry Street on Thursday for the Missisquoi River Crossing Project, the 1.2 million water line. So beginning on Thursday, they'll be essentially right near the turn and down near the fishing access, doing multiple borings to do the assessment there. It's just an FYI.
On the riverbank or in the river?
No, river bank, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. And the last one that I have before executive session, I'm going to turn over to my friend Reginald Belleville for a discussion.
So as part of the property next door of our purchase and the public visit, I know you just can't make this stuff up, you gotta work with them all day. But, so the Northern Borders Regional 2023 Catalyst Program, applying for a grant to help with the cost of the public safety facility. So I'm applying for a letter of interest to the Northern Borders. So basically, I'm gonna need the trustees to sign this as a letter of interest. Basically, we talk about, this complex, how many years old it is, and the necessity to renovate this, as well as to construct a new public safety building. We just talk about what this building houses and what it does here. 38 full-time employees with 32 volunteer firefighters and 7 part-time police officers. We talked about this facility during COVID-19. It was a testing and vaccination facility. And then we talk about the northwest area of Vermont, that how this is expanding with the water line going to the airport, with the possibilities of that expanding there. The interstate, where's that one? That's in the next section. The airport expansion. And then we talk about the Southern Growth Center and Exit 20 with the new state garage going out there and other family housing. Then we talk about our proximity to the Canadian border and Highway 35 into Interstate 89, that increased traffic. And then the volume of calls with 2,500 for the police department. 30 mutual aid calls for fire, on an average 285 calls for service for the fire department. Those volumes aren't going down at all with this area's growth and expansion. And basically we talked, the last couple of paragraphs, we just talked about the architect we've hired, about designing that and renovations here, what those would look like. And we're seeking $12 to $15 million for the project. So I just need a motion to have the trustees sign this as a letter of interest. This is just interest. So then they put us in a queue, and then if they need more information, they do that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to sign a letter of interest for us to move forward with this application. Any more discussion, questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried unanimously. We will sign. Yeah. In the meantime, any other necessary business?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead,
At the last meeting, I had mentioned that the Memorial Day Parade is on Monday, May 26th. That date doesn't exist. So it is Monday, May 29th. starting at 2 at the Babcock School. So if people are interested in coming in, supporting the parade, being in the parade, would greatly appreciate, just an email, and so we can start planning ahead of time. Also, Flags for Veterans will be put up on Saturday, May 27th. Another 150 flags going up, so they'll be up for the week, and then we'll take them down the following week. Haven't had a chance to talk with Chief Sullivan yet, but the challenge with speeding on Spring Street is getting a little onerous.
Weather's better.
Well, the weather's better, yes, yeah, and the young driver's fancy turns to speeding, so. Please slow down. It's just common courtesy, people need to care a little more. Please slow down. One of the other challenges that I'm seeing is dirt bikes and four-wheelers coming up from our neighbors in Highgate Springs. And it's even kids riding little mini bikes with no helmets. I mean, talk about a here's your sign episode happening. But, it's, people just gotta care a little more about others, please. Life is too short.
I spent a few minutes in echoing what Adam is saying there. In the summertime, I keep the air conditioner on so I can bear the frickin' noise, pardon my language. But I'm at the end of the street, and when they accelerate, what do you think the noise is? And I don't know what you can do about it. I also spent a few minutes downtown, a short time ago, and I saw maybe 1 out of 10 cars stop at the stop sign. By Ace Hardware. And I'll tell you that the ones that did not stop hardly even slowed down. That was after the last meeting when I pointed out that somebody almost got T-boned there. The guy was coming out of a black pickup truck. Good thing he looked to his left, I'll tell you. He was coming out of Ace. And he stopped and died. But I don't know what you can do about it. If they aren't gonna prosecute these people, what the hell's the sense in stopping them? As a citizen, I ask that the whole system be changed from the top down. People got accustomed to COVID-19. The police weren't, they suggested the police not confront people, don't talk to them, whatever happened. It's worse than it was before COVID.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that the chief is aware, and, that any enforcement action by the police for traffic-related offenses is a civil offense, and it's actually controlled where the officer's the prosecutor. So at least we control that part of it. They're not dismissed unless the officer dismisses. The state's attorney has nothing to do with that process.
Well, maybe that's good.
Yeah. It's just frustrating because so many times you just thought about the other person. Just think about the other person.
Yeah.
Care, just give one little iota of care. It's asinine to see these people doing what they're doing. It really is. It's a here's your sign episode happening. You can't fix it. I'm not gonna say it, but you can't fix it.
I also understand that the police have
Yes.
to use priorities in their work. And some of the things that they have to deal with are more serious than what I'm talking about.
Yep, agreed.
So
Yeah,
I don't know.
traffic safety is an important part of what the organization does, though.
But
It's
it's gonna fall
important.
back on the community as well.
Yes,
If the community wants to make a difference, make a difference.
right.
Don't yak about it.
I mean, the little bikes going up and down the street, there are children that walk all the way from the motel, which is just barely in Highgate. And these young people are walking with their mothers or whatever. Sometimes, I don't know why people do this, they walk on the street on Spring when there's a sidewalk available. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. Now, I'm not gonna go out and stop them.
Right.
So somebody, a little dirt bike the other day was going up our sidewalk. So we traded the sidewalk for bikes and the people on the street. Seems ludicrous, doesn't it?
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Society's changing
I
side.
hope you have better.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good, thank you.
just, I just want to say, isn't the Highgate Airport supposed to close, the runway's supposed to close within the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, no, I think it's closed. I think it may be closed now because they've started the construction on that.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's going to be down all summer, I guess, till.
Yeah, I forget what the date is. I got it on my computer. I don't remember the exact date.
I mean,
But yes.
the end result was a good deal, but I thought they were closing soon.
Yes. Yes, we just gave 2 temporary services to 2 job trailers today.
Yeah, me too.
Diane?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a little update on the lien presentation that I did. I wanted to thank a couple of property owners and landlords. Last week alone, I collected over $3,000.
Nice,
So I'd sent out some letters.
nice.
These are very old liens, and they cleared them up. So,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Good.
Good job.
yeah. So it's good.
Also cash flow.
Okay, so are we set? Reg?
I have none.
We are? Okay, if there's no other necessary business, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel and real estate.
So move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to go into executive session. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, we are in executive session.